Next on the agenda? Sure.
Mr. Mayor, I'd like to make a motion to suspend the rules and bring item I up for discussion and vote.
Second.
Motion by Deputy Mayor Sakala and a second by Councilor Mangini. Excuse me. Excuse me. Thank you. All right, by show of hands, all in favor?
Just as a
I
Item
want
I.
to be mindful of Mr. Nunes and Mr. Mathewson's time, so I'm asking to bring item I.
point of order, could you just say what that is so people understand?
Sure.
Go ahead.
The resolution waiving the bids for the purchase of bulk chemicals at WPCA.
You're welcome. By a show of hands, all in favor? Against? Abstentions? You're in favor? Okay. All right. 11 in favor. Thank you. The resolution waiving bids for the purchase of bulk chemicals at the Enfield Water Pollution Control Facility, whereas the town of Enfield generates approximately 22 tons of processed sludge each day, and whereas the Water Pollution Control Facility uses significant quantities of chemicals to possess and treat this waste, and whereas price volatility and supply chains issues have made it very difficult to purchase the necessary chemicals, and whereas it is vital to the public health that WPCF have flexibility in obtaining supplies from its available sources. Therefore, be it resolved that the Town Council does hereby find, based on the foregoing compelling public interest, in accordance with the Town Charter, Chapter 5, Section 8D, that is therefore against the best interest of the town to solicit bids for the purchase of supplemental carbon, liquid polymer, and sodium hypochlorite.
So moved.
Second.
Deputy Mayor Sakala and a second by Councilor Mangini. Excuse me.
Point of order,
Excuse me.
which I can make a point of order. They need to be quiet so I can hear what's going up there. So that's why I would like them to be as quiet. And in Robert's rules, the order is vital.
Thank you. For the second time, may I ask people to please be quiet when we're conducting business up here, please? I'd greatly appreciate that. Okay, with us is Donald Nunes.
Donald Nunes, Director of Public Works.
Todd Mathewson, Superintendent, the Water Pollution Control.
Welcome.
Thank you.
So, Mayor, the three main chemicals that we were talking about here again is sodium hypochlorite, which is basically chlorine, micro C, which is a nutrient for the good bugs, and polymer, which helps thicken. I know everybody loves this word, the cake that is pushed out. We have gone out to bid we've gone out to bid every single year, and with the supply chain issues and everything else from that we've experienced through COVID and whatever. All the companies that we deal with did not extend their bids. We have a 1-year bid with 2 years of options. None of the companies signed on for a second year. So through some help with John Wilcox and finance, we were able to get some chemicals through to kind of limp us through right now. But we're at that point again. If we go out to bid, there's still going to be one supplier who may have to bid at such an inflated rate because of the market rate of the materials that we may be arbitrarily high right now, but we may save later on. But it's such a goofy time to purchase these chemicals that we just cannot seem to find where to buy them. And we know where to buy them from. It's just that we've maxed out, again, per charter rules. We're at that point now, again, we're just not getting the service because we're locked. No one's going to lock us into a price for those chemicals. And Todd can talk more about what those chemicals do in a little more fun way than I did. So,
Good evening, everybody. The AWWA, which is the American Water Works Association, put out an article this May on how broken the supply chain is for our industry. It's affected everything from polymers, chlorine, bisulfite, everything. Everything is just, it's not good. We have only 2 suppliers of polymer. Now, when the upgrade was done, they did a 30-day study with 3 different polymers to pick out the best polymer for our equipment. Every polymer, it's like a recipe. But you can't just go buy a polymer and expect it to work with your sludge. Everybody's waste sludge is different. It has different charges, and I got to get to my notes here. I'm sorry. It's past my bedtime. I apologize, folks. And the prices are changing daily. I asked for a quote one day for Micro C, and it's like, wow, I don't like that price. I wait a couple days, the price drops 50 cents a gallon. Wait a couple more days, it goes up $1 a gallon. It's just, it's so bad out there. I'm not sure how we get around this other than bid waivers. I mean, just a test polymer is doing jar testing. You'd have a company come in if they wanted to bid. Now, mind you, we only had 2 people last year bid on polymer, only 2 companies. And you come in and you do jar testing in the laboratory, so they'll tie up the laboratory for 2 to 3 days to find a product that may or may not work, and then you have to actually put it to the machine and run through different scenarios to ensure that you can get what you need done. Currently, we have the system so well optimized that we're using 2/3 less polymer than the O&M manuals even call for. And our cake is so good that we're hitting the maximum percentage on cake, which is 25%. It's working very efficiently, so I'd hate to have to change that and go backwards. Another chemical we use is Micro C. It's a glycerin-based product. You might be familiar with glycerin because it's in soaps, it's in different medications. They use it in food. We use it for bug food. So the Micro C we're buying now costs, well, today it was like $4 a gallon, but to get medical grade or food grade, it's $20 a gallon. And we only had 1 person bid on that with the spec that would work with the new equipment we got with the upgrade. So it's very challenging to purchase chemicals. Does anybody have any questions?
Chlorine and stuff. So again, we're just at a very odd point. Again, we do have there are some solutions out there, but again, it'd be, again, for the polymer, we'd be shutting down the plant. When we have to clean it out, we have to use approximately 100 gallons of mineral oil. We've got to clean, we've got to do testing, and it kind of just really messes with things, and that's no guarantee that it's going to even work on that prime. Again, right now, due to Todd's work down there, again, we're actually exceeding, like he was talking about, the 25%, which is the maximum that MDC will allow. So we actually had to loosen the cake up a little bit, as maybe is a gross way of saying it, but we had to loosen things up because he's doing too good of a job down there, and the polymer is working just perfectly that we have. So that's why we want it for that. And the Micro Cs, the good bugs are those big, long, rectangular tanks that kind of boil and all that kind of good stuff. Micro C used to feed those good bugs to make sure they break down the stuff. Then the last one is chlorine, which we just, again, right before it exits into the river, we chlorinate it to bring it up to standard. So that's why, again, it's just fluctuating, I said, on a daily basis, and we just need some flexibility because right now nothing is, we have enough polymer to get us through until middle December. And Micro C, again, working with finance, we were able to get a new, we're topped off right now, but that won't last. We need to get something in within the next few months or so, and chlorine is until the spring.
We only have 4,000 gallon capacity for Micro C, but the smallest load I could even buy was 4,500 gallons. So we had to clean totes, and we're storing chemical totes on our washdown pad just so we could get a load in here. With the upgrade, we only had a 1,000 gallon tank, but I was able to put in a second tank for 3,000 because I kind of saw this coming down the pike. We have bulk tanks put in with a new upgrade that we can't use because of trucking issues. We're buying chemicals in totes and then transferring them into our storage tanks because you can't get bulk storage right now. I mean, bulk deliveries on chemicals. If they can't send an entire tractor trailer, if you have only 2,000 gallons in storage, but a tractor trailer is 4,500 gallons, they're not going to come to you. So now we're buying it in totes on a FedEx truck, dropping them off. I know we're 2 years out, but it's still extremely challenging with the supplies. And the Micro C system is brand new. We have 4 pumps dedicated to the basin to deliver our carbon supplement, and it's only designed to pump Micro C. There are other means, other things you can use as a carbon supplement. You could use acetic acid, you could use numerous other things, methanol, but our equipment won't pump that chemical into our process. So the upgrade kind of hurt us a little bit and made us a little more on the proprietary side than we should have done. But it's working really good. Our numbers are phenomenal. We're still, we haven't had a single permit violation since I've arrived. And our nitrogen numbers, the key thing with the Micro C is to remove nitrogen. It helps with the nitrogen removal process. We are still getting credits, even though it's almost a net zero for credits. I think we did about 30,000 last year, if I'm not mistaken. So we're making very clean water with the chemicals and the equipment.
Okay, thank you. Are there any questions? Councilor Nelson?
Through the mayor, Todd, what's the price difference if we buy in bulk? Say we bought a tractor trailer load of it. I mean, is there that much of a price difference that if we installed a tank big enough to hold it?
They're actually, I have my wrong phone. I'm going to try to remember the numbers. So Micro C now is offering a price for different quantities. For the $4,500 load, I believe it was $4.17 a gallon. And I think for the smallest load they were willing to ship, I believe was 1,500 gallons for about $1.50 more a gallon.
Right, but what if we bought a whole tractor trailer load?
Well, that's what I
gallons.
did. That's what I did with a Micro C. So we have all our tanks filled, plus we have totes to be able to offload it.
Right, but is 4,500 gallons a tractor trailer load?
That is correct. That's the maximum allowed by law in Connecticut, I believe you can haul.
Okay. I didn't understand that part. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Councilor Hopkins?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. What would be the ideal storage setup to be able to accommodate the way that the businesses function for this stuff? If we can only get 4,500, do we need an extra?
I wish I could answer that. This is my 30th year in the industry. I've never seen anything like this. When the chlorine, we had COVID, then we had the chlorine fire, so everybody's trapped at home, but nobody could buy chlorine for their swimming pools, and we were barely able to keep enough to keep our water disinfected. I've never seen times like this before. I don't have an answer for that. I'm sorry.
That's okay. Thank you for sharing what you have. I mean, if you could, just have that question in the back of your mind as we approach, next year's budget, so we can think about, maybe having a functional. So I mean, it's tricky for you guys to have to constantly move this stuff around, but I appreciate it.
Yeah, so some of the suppliers set those arbitrary limits now because they're trying to go out fully loaded, so they're not going to give you half or short loads as they call them. So that's their number, but that might not be our number. So that's why I said we have. You see them on the back of sometimes on B&G trucks. They're like 3 foot by 3 foot by 3 foot tall plastic cages. Stuff, plastic bins with like metal around them. That's what we offload into those. Then we pump it into the other tank just to get that full thing. We also do that on a similar note with highway with the magnesium chloride. Our tank holds 2,000 or 4,000 gallons. We can only offload 3,200 because of capacity, but we store it elsewhere. We have all our trucks lined up, so we do the same thing too to get maximum loads from it.
Thank you. Councilor Ludwig.
Welcome. 2 quick questions. So if we weren't having supply issues, what would be the normal bidding process right now? Just curious, for any of the chemicals. What would be, say it again, if we weren't having supply issues?
I've put this out for 4 years in a row, and we never had an issue until really last year. That when the renewals came up, and we start the renewal process in February, March, because we set the option of do we want to keep you as a vendor and whatever. Right. So we send that out, and it's universal that pretty much everybody is denied. On not only with Todd's part of it, but other parts of DPW, they just said we can't do it anymore. We have to worry about fuel surcharges because that wasn't bid as part of it. They want fuel surcharges, which is a whole very weird thing.
My only concern with the resolution is can we put a time limit on it? So again, maybe a year from now. Again,
yes,
maybe so there isn't a supply. I just don't want to give unending bid waiver. Completely understand the situation, and I agree. You guys need the flexibility. But I would like to have a time limit. So again, maybe, and if a year from now the supply is still in, then so be it. We just renew. But I mean, kind of an infinite bid waiver worries me a little bit.
No, time limit, I have no issue with a time limit coming back again, because again, the market may change, the supply
Right.
chain, things may right themselves. We don't know. I mean, so much has gone awry in the last year or two.
I know, I completely understand, but that's my only, I don't know, I would like to offer a friendly amendment saying, the resolution is good till whatever a year from now is, November 14th,
Yeah,
2023.
Absolutely no,
I would
that's
second
perfect.
that.
Yeah, for sure.
It's amendment, so has it been
So
second? Any discussion? Yeah, go.
the amendment would be for 1 year, November 14th through
Or
2023.
whatever council meeting was, or that corresponding council meeting in November of 2023.
Okay, and so that Councilor Ludwig making the amendment, and a second by Councilor Nelson. Any discussion on the amendment?
Thank you.
Councilor Mangini.
Could, through our mayor, to Councilman Ludwig, explain or point out where in the standing resolution the amendment would lie?
So maybe I'd say at the fourth whereas, it's vital to public health, have flexibility to obtain supplies from all available sources, effective through November 14th, 2023.
So then my question through our mayor, why would we put a time frame on it? Why wouldn't we just leave it to our expert public works director?
Well, I mean, I have the floor. I can answer that. I mean, it's our job to control the finance, and he's the expert. But giving an infinite bid waiver doesn't make sense to me. Our job is to make sure if things change a year from now, we go back to normal, where we go to bid and we get the best price. That's all I'm saying.
Well, I
So
disagree.
here, this resolution before the amendment gives them an infinite. They can go out the bid waiver for whatever, for as long as they choose they need to.
Thank you. I disagree, and I won't be supporting the amendment.
Councilor Hopkins.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I would be supportive of that amendment. It also gives a nice kind of reminder for us to revisit this issue in a year. Do we need more storage? Has the market righted itself? And we're good there. I think it makes sense in this case.
Okay, thank you. Is there any other discussion on this? I don't have an issue with this myself, but Councilor Finger.
So when you guys put your bids, I heard you say in Connecticut. We don't go outside of Connecticut for any of this stuff?
Oh, it's
None of this is in Connecticut.
I'm sorry?
none of the pollen. Well, go ahead.
I'm sorry, none of the products we get are manufactured. Most of them are manufactured in the chemical plants down in Louisiana, North Carolina, maybe some in Pennsylvania.
Oh, okay. So it's not just like we're
Nothing
sticking
is
with Connecticut.
local. No, we don't have any of these products locally.
Cool. Thank you very much.
Okay, by show of hands, we will be voting on the amendment that was made, and the amendment would go in under the fourth section, whereas it is vital to the public health that WPCF has flexibility in obtaining supplies from all available sources effective November 14, 2023. Okay, all in favor? Against? Okay. Motion, amendment passes 10-1. All right, now to vote on the resolution now, as amended.
Mayor Crissati,
4.
Councilor Despard,
4.
Councilor Finger,
4.
Councilor Hopkins,
4.
Councilor Ludwig,
4.
Councilor Mangini,
Against.
Councilor Nelson,
4.
Councilor Pisner,
4.
Councilor Santinella,
4.
Councilor Ungary, 4. Deputy Mayor Sakala,
4.
10 in favor, 1 against.
Thank you, Donald and Todd. Greatly appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you, folks. Have a good evening.